is Brian Turner. I'm Curriculum Data Assessment Manager here in the Office of Instruction. I primarily work with the secondary schools, the middle schools, and the high schools.
Hey everyone, my name is Trina Camaro and I'm a Curriculum Data and Assessment Manager working primarily with the elementary schools out of the Office of Instruction here.
Good evening, I'm Josh Almeida. I'm the Curriculum Data and Assessment Manager for Mathematics, K-8.
And good evening, everyone. Russell Lewandowski, Curriculum Data Assessment Manager for Instructional Technology and Digital Learning.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Beatty Ferrara. I'm the Administrative Assistant for the Office of Instruction and Deputy Superintendent's Office, and I also assist with translation and interpretation services.
So Beatty, if you want to let them know if anybody needs anything in Spanish translated, to just drop it in the chat and we will be able to do it that way.
Okay. Yes, I will say it first of all in Spanish because that's mostly our population here. But if there's anybody else that needs other languages, please let us know. And I'll say in Spanish as well. Buenas tardes. Estamos aquí para informarles acerca de la instrucción de los estudiantes. Si usted tiene algún tipo de preguntas, por favor, colóquenla en el comentario. Y también las imágenes que van a ser presentadas van a ser traducidas al idioma de usted para que los pueda ver también. Okay, gracias. I did also mention that the PowerPoint that will be presented tonight will be translated and that will be available on the website as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Now at this time I am going to share my screen so that we can begin the presentation. So as I said, we are the Office of Instruction and tonight's informational session is on teaching and learning. We are here to give you an overview of some of the fantastic things that have been going on this year in our schools. Some of the topics will be the guiding principles, safety, expectations and getting help, our learning model, curriculum and digital resources, and lastly, DESE updates, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education updates. So everything that we do with our guiding principles in mind. The safety and well-being of our students, staff, and families is always our top priority. We've also been focusing on equity and access for all students, and we feel that maintaining connections between school staff and students is extremely important in this environment and always. Some of the safety guidelines that we have put in place, we have mask wearing. All students, preschool through 12th grade, and all staff wear masks while they are in the building to help to prevent the spread of the virus. We also practice safety guidelines as far as keeping 6 feet away from others. We make sure that hands are washed or sanitizer is used quite often. And one message that we just want to reiterate is please keep your child home if they are sick. These are the resources that we have used to come up with our safety plans. If you are interested, this PowerPoint will be posted on the website and you'll be able to, these are live links, you will be able to click on them for more information. I am now going to turn over the PowerPoint presentation to Brian.
Thanks, Karen. So we have daily expectations of all students, and the first most important thing is to be in attendance every single day. So every student, no matter your cohort, whether you're an in-person student every day, or whether you're 2 days a week, or if you're cohort D and fully learning at a distance, the expectation is that you're in attendance every single day. Students have a readiness checklist, making sure they've got their computer, internet connection, that they're ready to attend every synchronous or live session. And every time the teacher assigns something, the expectation is that the students step up and complete those assignments. It's important to note that this year, unlike last spring, all of the typical grading in any given school year is happening. So at the elementary level, that includes standards-based grading, and at the middle and high school levels, that includes letter grades. So at home, you've been receiving term letter grades and standards-based information. On our next slide, when you go to the New Bedford Public School website, you'll see at the bottom, as you scroll down to the website, information to help. So yes, we've got really high expectations of the students to be in attendance and to be completing the daily work. And we also want to help out whenever needed. We know this year in particular, there are a lot of technical challenges and issues, and we are here to help. So there's a phone number that you can call. It's 508-997-4518. There's also online a link to a survey that you can complete. And that survey gives information about what the problem might be, and then information about how we will be in touch to help troubleshoot for you. Next slide, Karen. We also support beyond just the technical side of things, but we have family support specialists who can assist with any need a family might have. So if you've got a challenge and you are looking for support, no matter what kind of challenge it is, we are here to help and guide the right resources and people your way. And the number there is on the screen, and again, can be found on our website. And you can stay informed if you haven't done this already. Make sure your school has your cell phone number, and you can, once the school has your cell phone number, text 67587 and reply yes. And when you do that, you will get alerts from the schools about information that may be relevant for you. Starting the last month, we've provided insurance options for families. We know that the computer devices at times, unfortunately, break and get damaged. And the website has information and a quick form that you can fill out. It's $31 per year, and then the device is covered if there's any damages. So we are looking to support you in those ways, and this information is readily available, again, on the school's homepage. So I'm going to turn it now over to Trina.
Thank you, Brian. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our current learning model. We have the majority of our students learning in the hybrid model, and the in-person days are really important to provide students with the opportunity to get instructional support and also build relationships and have their social emotional needs met. So both the distance and the in-person, of course, are important to the model, but we wanted to highlight some of the benefits of actually being in person. And a little bit down the road, we have some pictures of in-person learning and what that looks like. So as far as the structures for distance learning, as I mentioned, we have the majority of our students are learning in the hybrid model. So they have some of their instruction in person and some at a distance. And then of course, we have a smaller portion who are learning all the time in the distance model. And it's really important, as Brian mentioned earlier, that students log in when they're assigned to log in by their teachers, that they follow through with all of their assignments, and to note that the distance learning can take place through a variety of these learning platforms that we're going to talk about a little bit more later, and also does include paper and pencil tasks and projects as well. So for the elementary students, that hybrid model continues to exist as we presented it in the summer, and there are 2 full days of opportunities in person to interact with peers and teachers. And those full days include academics and specialists. And the at-home days at the elementary level involve multiple opportunities for synchronous or face-to-face via the computer learning. It's at least twice a day, but does vary between school and class and grade level. So it's very important to keep in touch with the teachers to know when those things are supposed to happen. And also very important to remember that those at-home days are not just about that synchronous time. It's very important for students to follow up and do their independent work, whether that's on a screen, through a digital program, or through paper and pencil tasks. And of course, we're still doing the Wednesdays learning from home all day with our hybrid students. So while students are at home, whether they are in the full distance model or in the hybrid model, there are a few things that many sources have indicated help our students to be successful. So those include either a consistent schedule or routine. So whether that's a very strict schedule that the teachers provide, for example, at the secondary level, there is stricter schedules and a lot of logging in throughout the day. For elementary students, the at-home days may be a little less structured. So it's important to think about creating a schedule or a routine that works for your student if there is some unstructured time. It's important that our students have a quiet space to work. So that looks different in every home environment, and that's okay. But this is a way to support your students' learning, is to help them to find a space where they have what they need to hear and to be heard as appropriate. It's important to maintain contact with teachers and the school to know whether your student is keeping up with what they need to do and what you can do to support them individually. And also, of course, ensure that all assignments are handed in, whether that's paper and pencil, physically handing things in, or doing so through submitting through a variety of digital platforms. And we also want to make sure that we're continuing to ensure that our students are studying and practicing. So again, not all the learning takes place in front of a teacher, especially when you're at home. It does there is the need to do practice and studying on your own. And of course, I can't forget that it's really important, especially with our students learning from home and spending a lot of time on screens, that we encourage physical activity and playing and socialization in safe ways. And now I'm going to hand it over to Russell to talk a little bit more about our tech tools.
Thank you, Trina. So the next couple slides are just going to give you some background as to the educational technology that we're using to ensure that your child has the best learning experience at New Bedford Public Schools. At the top of the slide, we've kind of said technology has shifted from being a novelty to in many ways a necessity in our current learning environment. At the core of our educational technology is Clever, and that's the portal for students to access a variety of our online learning tools and curriculum tools. It's a single sign-on system, so they only need to be signed in through that one platform to have access to all of the great tools that our teachers are using for instruction. In terms of our classroom hubs, they vary based on the school and grade level. So at the elementary and middle schools, we use Google Classroom as our hub, a place for students to hear class announcements, view turn-in assignments, and potentially they're getting grading and feedback through that hub as well. At the secondary level, at the high school level in particular, we're using Microsoft Teams as our hub, a place for students to hear classroom announcements, view turn assignments, and communicate with their teacher. So similar platforms, but that would be the home base for most of the instruction and communication between the student and their teacher. So in addition to the engaging technology-based curriculum resources, we wanted to highlight three here, tools that teachers have been using to really leverage technology into their instruction to ensure that even in our different learning environment, whether it's in the classroom or at home, they're able to reach and engage all students. So the first two tools there are Pear Deck and Nearpod, two tools that allow the traditional slideshow that we're showing now, makes it become more interactive. And this gives really every student a front row seat wherever they are. There's built-in comprehension checks and opportunities for engagement along the way. There's drag and drop slides and drawings and all sorts of ways that students can still be engaged, whether in person or at home. And there's also great reports that are sent to the teacher and the people and the students who are as participants to really let the teachers know what the students got out of the lesson. The other technology we wanted to speak about this evening as a tool that we're spearheading as the district is Edpuzzle. And that's a cool application where you can make a video interactive. So think any sort of YouTube video that a teacher selects, or even if a teacher uploads their own video, students through this tool can watch and rewatch the videos at their own pace. And there's built-in questions along the way so the teacher can really see if your student is understanding the material. And there's also built-in grading so that the student's able to see in real time their score and whether they're getting the material or not. So those are just 3 of the really exciting things that we have going on in addition to all of the technology curriculum that is already in place. Lastly, we just wanted to invite you to visit our Office of Instruction Instructional Technology Resource page, a page for parent and guardian support. And this would be specifically to support your student in using the technology. So we do have a great tech services, as Brian has already mentioned, team who is able to troubleshoot what might be happening to your physical computer. Maybe your computer is not working properly, and that is in place. But we also wanted to let you know of this site that helps you not in getting the device functioning, but more how you can help your student with what they're doing on the device as it relates to teaching and learning. So to visit that site, again, this PowerPoint will be available to you, but it is a short link at the bottom, bit.ly/MBPS Family Tech. And now I believe we'll turn it over to Josh, who's going to talk about some of the awesome ways that you can support your student at home.
Thanks a lot, Russell. Really appreciate it. So first I want to say there's no wrong way to engage in learning with your student at home, whether that be through reading, reviewing flashcards, playing board games. One of our personal favorites right now is Guess Who. So we're having a lot of fun with that one. But in case you're looking for more, in this slide, what you'll find are some of the resources your student has access through the Clever account that Russell was talking about. The first icon you'll see is iReady. iReady is available to the elementary schools listed below for math, while it supports our middle school students with access to both ELA and math. All the way to the right-hand side, we have Freckle. Freckle provides adaptive practice to all of our elementary schools, K-5, for math, English, science, and social studies. Some schools have additional programming like Dreambox, IXL, ST Math, or MobiMax, but really contacting your student's teacher, that's always the best way to learn more about the tools your student should be using. We won't do it right now, but at the bottom of that previous slide, there's a video. You can check that video out in the future as we post these slides on the website. Coming soon, through a partnership with TutorMe, we'll be offering on-demand virtual tutoring. That's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for students in grades 6 to 12. Again, that's any subject, any day, any time. Within seconds, your student will have access to a tutor ready to meet their needs. TutorMe also provides students with the option to connect with a Spanish-speaking tutor. More information will be coming from your student's school in the coming days. The next slide, I just wanted to take a minute to show you a video that introduces the concept of what TutorMe is all about. I had to make it difficult, right, Karen? So we're having issues with audio, but basically the video speaks to everything that you saw on the previous slide. Basically, at any time your student needs support, they can connect with a tutor within 30 seconds. All the tutors are certified, trained, highly qualified.
And we mean verified. Our tutors come from the nation's top universities and are all experts in their fields. Once matched, you'll enter a lesson space that features audio and video chat, screen sharing, virtual whiteboards, and much more. And the results speak for themselves. Millions of students have trusted TutorMe to boost their grades. So, why is your homework still not done? Start your free trial today.
So again, no need to to start your free trial within the coming days. Your student will have the TutorMe icon on their Clever account. Again, that's for all grades 6 to 12 students.
You just use this arrow.
So I'll pick up here. Thank you, Josh. This is just a slide about another program that is available to all elementary students, actually all pre-K through 5 students enrolled in the district through their Clever account, have the opportunity and are encouraged to practice on their Lexia Core 5 program at home. It is an adaptive program, which means when your child uses it, it adapts to meet their needs. So when they first logged on back in the beginning of the year, it was completing an assessment of their skills without them even knowing it, because it is gamified and it's a lot of fun. But the program is providing your student with what they need to improve their reading skills at any level. In addition, this program provides the teachers with information about how your student is doing, and so the teacher can then adapt their instruction to meet your students' needs. So we recommend that students use this program. Most of our students should be using it between 15 and 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week. So now we're rolling into some photos of what a day in the life of an in-person instruction looks like. So this picture here is from one of our elementary classrooms where students in the hybrid model are in school and they're having the opportunity to work in groups and getting individualized attention from the teacher, who is pushing their thinking and encouraging them to discuss their learning. Similarly, in this picture, you see students who are spaced safely apart, wearing their masks, as well as the teacher. But in the in-person model and while they're in school, students have the opportunity to have regular interactions with their teachers to support their learning. And this picture shows that our students can also work in small groups, not just independently, while in school. With some of our safety measures, you can see that there were some panels there, and the students are having their individual needs met in that small group with the teacher. This is another small group, and their teacher is circulating around the room, and these students are exploring mathematics by problem solving and constructing. And so when they're in person, it's a great opportunity to have that dialogue and discussion about learning and really push their thinking. Again, a few more pictures from in-person learning. There's some beautiful art that's been constructed by the classes on the walls here regarding a literature unit. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see that some of our students actually have the opportunity to interact with students who are at home while they are in class during this hybrid model. So that's a really creative thing that our teachers are doing. That is also happening here in a whole class model. So this teacher is speaking both to students who are on the screen at home and to the students in class, and skillfully engaging both. So our teachers are pretty amazing. This is a middle school example that's very similar to those elementary school examples. And you can see that COVID precautions and safety measures are a top priority, not just on the bulletin board, the beautiful board there, but also in reality. Students are spread apart. They are able to access learning from the teacher in the room, but also through the technology. And here's a closer look at one of those students and some of the programs that our teachers are using. Many of our teachers are getting feedback from the students, not just orally or verbally by students raising their hands, but by using a lot of survey software and discussion boards that actually happen through the digital platforms.
So I'll pick it up from here, Trina. This is the last slide. So I've noticed some questions being asked and posed in the chat feature. So if you do have questions, you can pose them there. We've been answering them in the chat feature directly to those who've been asking real time during the presentation. So feel free to pose a question through the chat if you have one and it's not been answered already. So this last slide just shares some information about the fact that the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education has been working closely with the New Bedford Public Schools and all schools across the Commonwealth to just adjust to the new realities of the pandemic. And that often has to do when it comes to DESE around things like testing. So access testing is for English learners in grades 3 through 8 and at the high school level in grade 10. So those students who are learning English have an extended window this particular year up through May 20. So we didn't delay the beginning of these assessments, but we have longer to administer them. In MCAS, DESE is reducing the testing time required for grades 3 through 8. So in grades 3 through 8, it's math and English rather than doing multiple sessions or sections of the assessment this spring. It seems like that the number of those sessions will be reduced. And in science, 5th graders and 8th graders take a test that will also be reduced in terms of the length of the assessment. So the number of days required for testing will be limited. And you can see in the chart there, the windows of time, it's basically April through May when students will have an opportunity to be assessed through MCAS. And then high school competency determination. So in order to graduate, DESE has eased this spring the science testing through MCAS, where this year students just need to make sure they've demonstrated that they've earned credit in one of the assessed disciplines. So typically they'd have an opportunity to do biology or chemistry or physics or tech engineering, and instead they can demonstrate competency by earning credit for those courses that they're taking at the high school. So I'm going to turn it back over to Karen to see if we can facilitate any outstanding questions that have been posed in the chat.
I am going to stop sharing my screen. Let's see. An estimate on when school will be learning full in person. Well, the short answer is when it's safe to do so. We don't have a time yet. We have been discussing hopefully trying to bring some people back before the end of the school year. Mr. Turner, there's a question about project-based learning. And I think you answered it, Summit Learning at Whaling.
So just to further respond to that one, somebody was asking about Summit Learning, which is limited to Whaling City at this time. That was a particular technology-based platform that was at the middle schools. We found it not to be as effective as originally intended, although the flexibility at Whaling City, where it is often one-to-one and truly unique programming for students, that lent itself well to many of the students as an option there. But when it comes to project-based learning as an approach, certainly that's something we promote pre-K through 12, where it's hands-on, real-world, authentic learning experiences can happen in any subject area with or out technology, and is something that our content instructional leaders, our principals, assistant principals are often trying to promote in as creative a way as we possibly can. So I hope that answers that question.
She said, got it, thanks. So that seems to be all of the questions that are in the chat. We thank you for joining us this evening. This will be on the website eventually, hopefully by tomorrow at some point. I will pass the recording on to the publication people and they will get it up there, along with the other 2 presentations that have happened earlier this week, facilities and operations and health and safety. Thank you for joining us and enjoy the rest of your evening.